Chapter 91 Deep Forest Mountain. You are listening at novelfull.audio. So what? Ma Hongtu's eyes were sinister, and the atmosphere instantly froze. What Ma Dao you did was really eye-opening. In this case, there is no need for our cooperation to continue. Terminate the cooperation. Ma Hongtu sneered, that's fine, Taimo Mountain will be half for each of us, and the Ma and Chen families will not owe each other anything. Chen Zhaoyan's face turned pale when he heard this. You are dreaming. It has been agreed before that Taimo Mountain belongs to my Chen family. Do you want to go back on your word? Humph, before is before. Tianqi Mountain was emptied, leaving my Ma family with nothing. Am I working for you for nothing? Chen Zhaoyan snorted coldly. The distribution has been agreed before. It is your own choice. Who can you blame for this? Ma Hongtu's face was gloomy. Are you really unwilling to give in? Aren't you afraid of turning against my Ma family? Regarding the matter of Taimo Mountain, Chen has made up his mind. Ma Hongtu, I hope you will think twice before acting. After a few words from both sides, the atmosphere instantly froze and was as cold as ice. The cooperation between the two parties was not because of the good relationship between the Ma and Chen families, but for the same purpose. The Chen family had coveted Taimo Mountain for many years, but had never been able to seize it, and had many frictions with the Zhou family. So when the Ma family found them to join forces, they agreed without hesitation, and their goal was only to seize Taimo Mountain. As for the Ma family, they had already had a grudge against the Zhou family, and with the incident of Zhao Yunji as the fuse, they had long been at loggerheads, but now, after a few words, Ma Hongtu's true nature was revealed, and the relationship between the two sides instantly dropped to the freezing point. No one knew what the two talked about, but they only knew that in the end, the Ma family killed people and slaughtered mortals. And the Chen family left angrily and terminated the cooperation. A few days later, Zhou Daobai returned to Tianqi Mountain, intending to transport the remaining Zhou family mortals to Shenlin Mountain. However, as soon as he returned to the foot of the mountain, he was stunned in place, and the scene in front of him came into his eyes and hit his heart hard. The ground was full of corpses lying everywhere, and the dried thick blood seeped into the soil, dyeing the surrounding soil blood red, and the strong smell of blood rushed into the nose. Tiny mosquitoes flew in the air, gathering around the gradually smelling corpses, including young and strong, old and weak, women and children. His eyes trembled, and he looked at this former homeland again. Tianqi Mountain, which was like a fairyland, was now full of smoke and miasma. Resentment and anger squeezed in his heart, and Zhou Daobai could no longer bear it. His heart-wrenching roar echoed in Tianqi Mountain. Ma Hongtu, Chen Zhaoyan, the hatred of slaughtering my Zhou family will not end until death. Zhou Daobai looked at the tragic scene in front of him, his eyes full of bloodshot, and he was stunned for dozens of minutes. Finally, a big fire ignited the entire Tianqi Mountain, including nearly 10 villages at the foot of the mountain, along with the cold corpses and all the hatred, all burned in the flames. The fire burned for 3 days and 3 nights, with no sign of stopping, and it intensified until everything was burned to ashes. Deep Forest Mountain. As the new residents of the Zhou family, a large number of Zhou family members have gathered. A total of 70,000 Zhou family mortals have been transferred here, and some flat valleys have been found nearby to rebuild villages for resettlement. The Zhou family cultivators all gathered in Deep Forest Mountain, and the atmosphere was extremely depressing. After this defeat, the family lost nearly 50 members in total. These included 3 ninth-level elders of Qi refining, the entire hunting team, and all the members stationed in Taimo Mountain. In addition, when Zhou Daoqi and Zhou Shouyun and others were transporting magic tools, they were also attacked, and 8 members were killed or injured. Nowadays, there are only less than 100 members who have really returned to Deep Forest Mountain. The prosperous Zhou family has instantly regressed more than 50 years. The reduction of the number of members is still secondary. The most fatal thing is the death of the top masters, which has greatly reduced the foundation of the Zhou family. At present, there are only 4 elders left in the family: the eldest elder Zhou Changyi, the 4th elder Zhou Changyan, the 6th elder Zhou Changguang, and the 7th elder Zhou Shourong. Zhou Daobai, whose strength has reached the 9th level of Qi refining, has naturally become the 8th elder of the family, which is a shot of confidence for the clan members. But even so, The atmosphere of grief has not dissipated, and anger and resentment have long been buried deep in the heart, especially after learning about the massacre in Tianqi Mountain. The atmosphere is even more depressing. Everyone has put all their efforts into cultivation, just waiting for one day to completely end the hatred of tens of thousands of Zhou family members. However, in the short term, the focus of the family will still be on development. The damage this time is too great, and the family has long been overwhelmed and urgently needs to recuperate. The location of the deep mountains and forests is extremely hidden, and the geographical environment is excellent. Although it is not as good as Tianqi Mountain, it can barely maintain the next development. This time, in order to better conceal and remember the pain of losing his home, the head of the family did not choose to build a house. Instead, a large number of cultivation caves were directly dug out in the mountain where the spiritual vein is located for family members to live in. Now, the spiritual liquid from the spiritual spring of Tianqi Mountain has been integrated into the spiritual veins, directly raising the quality of the spiritual veins to the lower second grade, and the spiritual energy around has become much richer. The empty hillsides and valleys around have all been reclaimed as spiritual fields to plant. Various spiritual plants needed for life, striving to be self-sufficient here. The cultivation resources moved from Tianqi Mountain were not all stored, but most of them were distributed to the clan members to improve their strength. The family needs fresh blood and strong strength to regain the lost confidence. The clan members spent almost all their thoughts on cultivation, and more people began to retreat. But the path of cultivation is a long thing after all, which requires day after day of persistence. How can you break through smoothly with just passion? But such a strong momentum also gave the elders a glimmer of hope. In Shenlin Mountain, a simple stone cave was dug out. The luminous stone illuminated the not-so-wide space. A total of 7 people gathered here. They were 5 elders, plus Zhou Daoqing and Zhou Daoqi, representing the pillars of the Zhou family today and the hope for the future. The head of the family, Zhou Changyi, still sat in the first seat. His expression was as calm as ever, but his old face was added with a hint of oldness and haggardness. "Brother, how is the clan leader?" 6th elder Zhou Xuanhuan asked cautiously. Zhou Changyi was silent for a moment, and then said, "The clan leader can still hold on for a while, but his lifespan has come to an end. Everyone should be prepared." Everyone fell silent, and heavy pressure was on everyone's shoulders. Among the crowd, Zhou Changyi was the only one who had the most stable mood. He said calmly, "There is no need to think too much about these things. The most important thing now is the development of the family. Now there are only 2 bases left, and the family power has shrunk completely." "What do you think?" That the 4th elder Zhou Changyan pondered for a moment and spoke first. "Our Zhou family started by refining instruments. This is the field we are best at. I think we should still focus on refining instruments in the future." But after saying this, everyone's faces did not show a relieved expression, but were still full of solemnity. It is precisely because the Zhou family is a family of refining instruments and has a lot of experience in the magic instrument industry that they understand more clearly how difficult this road is for the current Zhou family. The 6th elder Zhou Changhuang spoke calmly. "Everyone should understand that if you want to earn spirit stones by selling magic instruments, there are 3 indispensable conditions, namely, refiners, refining materials, and sales channels, but we cannot meet the other 2 points except the first point." Hearing this, everyone's face was gloomy and a little frustrated. The Zhou family now only has the inheritance of formations and a small number of formation masters. As for the formation materials, most of them were obtained from Taimu Mountain, and a small part was obtained from the market. Now that Taimu Mountain has been lost, it is equivalent to losing the biggest capital for refining magic tools. It is really difficult for a good cook to cook without rice. The biggest sales channels in the past were Sifang Market and Luyuan Market. Now the shops in the 2 markets have been sold, so naturally there is nowhere to sell. In other words, even if the shops do not sell, the Zhou family dare not show up in the market easily. Once they are discovered by the Ma family and the Chen family, the consequences will be disastrous. However, Zhou Daoqing fell into deep thought this time. Perhaps he has a very suitable channel in his hands, but he has to consider whether this channel is suitable for today's writers. Chapter 92 Giant Ridge Bow. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Before Zhou Daoqing could finish thinking, Zhou Changyi hastily ended the discussion about weapon refining. For the Zhou family, weapon refining must be a method that cannot be given up, but in today's situation, there are many unavoidable constraints. The most important factor was the threat from the Ma family and Chen family, which forced them to live in the deep forest mountains, which greatly reduced their development potential. Zhou Changyi sighed softly and said, "Everyone, please consider the development of Shenlin Mountain. The Zhou family will live here for a long time." Everyone fell into deep thought and all lowered their heads and began to think. Not long after, sixth elder Zhou Xuanhuan was the first to speak. "Master, the vegetation around Deep Forest Mountain is dense and the soil is fertile. It can cultivate a large number of spiritual fields. It should be very good to plant spiritual valley spiritual plants. Especially in the nearby dense forest, there are a large number of first-order spiritual fruit trees growing. As long as they are planted in a standardized way, they can be used as daily food and can also assist in training to improve strength. It is a very good choice." Zhou Changyi nodded and said, "Yes, I have indeed made a good profit. I will arrange for Shou Xian to be responsible for it, but Chang Guang, you have to pay more attention to the work of expelling the surrounding monsters." "No problem, I can't go out now anyway, so I just walk around a lot." Zhou Changguang agreed with a wry smile. "Brother, I also have an idea. I found a first-class low-grade red-feathered spirit chicken in the mountains and forests to the south. Although the quality is not high, it can be cultivated. I can try to domesticate and breed it." Red-feathered chicken. There is a large slope in the valley behind, which is very suitable for breeding. Let Shou Ji and the others be responsible for this matter. After coming to Deep Forest Mountain for a few days, everyone had already roughly explored the surrounding environment. They had a pretty good idea of what resources were nearby. Zhou Daoqi thought for a moment and said something that no one had noticed. "Grandpa, I recently went to the mountain forest to the east and saw a spiritual tree. The quality should reach the second level, but it is guarded by a first-level high-grade monster." "Oh. Second-order spiritual wood." Zhou Changyi raised his brows with a little surprise in his eyes, but he quickly calmed down and said with a little hesitation, "You can go and take a look when you have time, but the guardian monster next to the second-order spirit tree is definitely not weak, so you have to take good care of it. Consider it." Zhou Daoqi did not give up, but spoke again, "Grandpa, that spiritual tree is different. According to my many years of experience in refining weapons, the wood should be extremely hard and tough, with a diameter of 1 foot, which is very suitable for use. Let's make bow weapons." After Zhou Daoqi finished speaking, everyone present showed surprised expressions, and Zhou Changyi also became a little more energetic. Even Zhou Daoqing couldn't help but think about it when he heard this. The bow weapon Zhou Daoqi mentioned may not be the ordinary bows and arrows commonly used by monks, but a large bow and arrow. Zhou Daoqing remembered that his grandfather Zhou Changyuan accidentally entered an ancestor's cave 2 years ago and obtained the refining method of a special magical weapon called Juling Bao. This is a large crossbow with a second-level quality. It is huge and requires multiple monks to control it at the same time. However, its power cannot be underestimated. It is said that its attack power is comparable to that of a foundation-building monk. However, the Juling Bao has great demand for materials. It requires wood with a quality of up to second level, and the hardness and toughness must be very strong. Over the years, the family has also tried to find wood that meets the requirements, but unfortunately has not been successful. Although the ironwood in Ironwood Mountain barely meets the standard in hardness, its toughness is severely lacking and it can easily collapse. And even the second-order ironwood is very slender overall and cannot meet the requirements of the Juling Bao. As for the spiritual wood that appears on the market, none of them can meet the 4 conditions of quality, hardness, toughness, and thickness at the same time. Therefore, the refining of the Juling Bao has been delayed, and it has not been refined until now. But now, what Zhou Daoqi said brings hope to everyone. As a first-level high-grade weapon refiner, Zhou Daoqi is extremely familiar with various weapon refinement materials. Naturally, no one will think that he is talking nonsense, let alone that he is mistaken. At this time, the eyes of everyone present were a little solemn. Fourth Elder Zhou Changyan said seriously, if what Dao Qi said is true, then it is indeed necessary to go there. Maybe it can add a big killer weapon to the Zhou family. What a gigantic bow. Brother Xuanhuan has brought it to the family for many years. I never thought that it would be possible to successfully refine it now. God has truly blessed the Zhou family. Sixth elder Zhou Changguang also looked excited. Only the head of the family, Zhou Changyi, was relatively calm. He tapped the table with his knuckles to signal everyone to quiet down. Don't be happy too early, otherwise you will end up being extremely happy and sad. Dodge, have you seen the breed of that guardian monster? Zhou Daoqi puffed up his fat belly and said, it should be an iron-backed savage bear. His strength is very good, and he is likely to reach the peak of the first level. Everyone couldn't help but take a breath of cold air. The first level high-grade peak was almost equivalent to the 9th level peak weapon refining monk. Moreover, the monster's body is extremely strong, and it can split mountains and rocks with one palm. Its sharp claws and iron back are comparable to first-level high-grade magic weapons, and its strength is much stronger than that of monks of the same level. There is some trouble. The iron-backed bear is extremely powerful. Even if we fight against it, we are likely to be seriously injured. Sixth elder Zhou Changguang said slightly worriedly. Zhou Changyi waved his hand, no need to worry too much. Let's go check the situation tomorrow. If the spirit tree does meet the requirements, then we will kill the iron-backed bear even if we pay a certain price. This is a second-level giant ridge bow. It only requires a few strong men at the 9th level of qi refining to control it, and it can explode with power comparable to the foundation building stage. Once the refining is successful, even if the clan leader has an accident, the Zhou family will have the confidence to gain a foothold in this mountain forest. This will be a strategic-level magic weapon that will affect the family's future. Next, the meeting lasted for several hours. As the core of the family, they talked about a lot of matters about the family's future, including the allocation of resources, the direction of development, the cultivation of family descendants, etc. It was not until late at night that the meeting was barely over and everyone returned to the cave to rest. However, without everyone noticing, Zhou Daoqing secretly stayed until the end, and waited until everyone left, and still lingered in his seat. Zhou Changyi raised his eyebrows, glanced at him lightly, and said, Daoqing, everyone has left, do you have anything to talk to Grandpa in private? Zhou Daoqing did not speak directly, but vigilantly closed the stone door of the cave, and sat back in his chair after making sure that there was no one around. Seeing Zhou Daoqing's cautious attitude, Zhou Changyi also became a little interested. He raised his head with interest and stared at this grandson, as if he wanted to see through him. He knew that this grandson might have some secrets, but since the child was unwilling to talk, he didn't want to ask. Zhou Daoqing looked thoughtful and slowly said, Grandpa, Daoqing has been hiding something from you. Chapter 93 Farming Development. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhou Changyi's face changed slightly, and he asked with a smile, why are you willing to talk about it now? The family is at the critical moment of life and death, and I, Zhou Daoqing, need to contribute. Then tell me, Grandpa is also very curious, what opportunities have you obtained in these years? Zhou Daoqing just smiled and said, Grandpa, I accidentally found a relic near Bailin Lake, from which I obtained the inheritance of the formation. Now I should be considered a formation master. Formation master. Zhou Changyi's pupils shrank suddenly. His breathing became heavier, and a look of "is it true" appeared in his eyes. He had heard from the clan leader that his grandson had only used extremely powerful formations, so he had some guesses in his heart, but even though he was mentally prepared, when he really heard the news, he still couldn't help but get excited. After thinking silently for a while, Zhou Changyi frowned and asked, what quality can the formation inheritance you obtained reach? Second grade upper grade. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. Zhou Changyi said 3 times in a row, and his face was even more joyful. Such a level of formation inheritance is no weaker than the Zhou family's qi refining inheritance. Zhou Daoqing said, Grandpa, I plan to pass on the formation inheritance to the family and record it. If there are family members who are interested in the formation, they can also be sent to me for training. Zhou Daoqing had planned to tell the family about this information a long time ago, but he only told a part of it and did not tell the whole story. For example, the true quality of the formation inheritance is actually the third grade upper grade, not the second grade upper grade. This is also for safety reasons to prevent information leakage and cause family disasters. Zhou Daoqing did not say anything about the situation of the fusion formation. That was his own unique method, so how could he hand it over casually? After explaining, Zhou Daoqing took out the formation inheritance book he had prepared in advance and handed it to the head of the family. Gently stroking the cover of the book, Zhou Changyi's expression was moved, and his lips trembled slightly as he said, "Daoqing, on behalf of all the family members, I thank you for your contribution to the family. Grandpa will remember this contribution for you. We are of the same clan and blood, you are too polite, Grandpa." Zhou Daoqing smiled and waved his hand, and continued casually, "Grandpa, there is actually one more thing. I may be able to find a channel for the family to sell magic tools." However, this time, Zhou Changyi did not show a surprised expression, but hesitated and sighed. "The sales channel is not the biggest problem. The key is the Ma family and the Qin family. Once we take the initiative to expose our identities, they will never let it go." Zhou Daoqing was silent for a moment, and said lightly, "My channel does not require the family to expose their identities, but only needs to provide magic tools." Zhou Changyi's eyes trembled, and he looked deeply at this grandson, and he actually felt the indifference and confidence in his tone, although he didn't know where the confidence came from. With the foundation of the formation inheritance, Zhou Changyi finally chose to believe it. "Grandpa won't explore your secrets too much. If it is really beneficial to the family, you can make your own decision. I believe you have a sense of propriety." "Okay, I will consider it carefully." The next morning, after leaving the cultivation cave, Zhou Daoqing saw the busy scene of the tribesmen outside. The elderly tribesmen waved hoes and divided the spiritual fields in the flat area. The faint spiritual energy around them made this deep forest more lively, due to the geographical location. Although the deep forest has fertile soil and sufficient water, there is a disadvantage that must be faced, that is, insufficient sunshine. The surrounding high mountains will block most of the sunlight, resulting in late sunrise, early sunset, short direct sunlight time, and generally low temperature around. So in the selection of spiritual valleys and spiritual plants, priority will be given to cold-resistant and less sunlight-demanding ones, such as Cold Beard Valley and Autumn Velvet Flower. In the past, such spiritual plants were planted less in Tianqi Mountain, so the tribesmen did not have enough experience. Now starting from scratch, they are also on the road of trying. Oh cluck! From a distance, Zhou Daoqing heard the sharp cries of chickens coming from the other side of the mountain. The sounds came one after another, extremely excited. "Is this the red-feathered spiritual chicken mentioned yesterday? It seems that a lot of them have been caught." Zhou Daoqing silently looked at this lively scene. Planting spiritual fields and raising spiritual birds are the foundation for the development of a family of immortal cultivation and the foundation of all strength. A family that is good at planting and breeding may not necessarily be very powerful, but any powerful force will not be bad in both planting and breeding. Zhou Daoqing looked for a while and was called away by his eldest brother Zhou Daobai. For ordinary clan members, the main task is planting and breeding to maintain the bottom development of the family, but for Zhou Daoqing, there is a more important task today: to explore the second-level spiritual wood discovered by Zhou Daoqi. The spiritual wood that may become the material of the giant ridge bough has to be taken seriously by the family. This is likely to become the foundation of the future and has extraordinary significance. The only people who participated in this operation were the head of the family Zhou Changyi, the seventh elder Zhou Shurong, and Zhou Daobai, Zhou Daoqing and Zhou Daoqi. As for the remaining two elders, they were stationed in Xuanhuan Mountain to consolidate the rear. Tens of minutes later, the five people crossed the wild forest and saw a spiritual tree with extraordinary aura dozens of kilometers away. From Xuanhuan Mountain, the spiritual energy was rich, the branches were thick and strong, and they swayed slightly in the breeze, and their excellent toughness could be vaguely seen. "Daoqi, is this the one?" "Yes, I checked the classics yesterday. It should be called Silver Silk Spirit Wood. It is named because the internal lines are like silver silk flowing. It is hard and tough, and it fully meets the requirements of the giant ridge bough. Zhou Daoqi said seriously, with a hint of desire in his eyes. In this case, we must take it back. Zhou Changyi took a few steps forward and carefully looked at the situation around the silver silk spirit wood, but did not see the existence of the monster. On the side, Zhou Shirong took the initiative to say, Master, the Ironback wild bear seems to be out hunting. It just so happens that we can cut the spirit wood and take it back. Then before Zhou Shirong could take action, he was stopped by Zhou Changyi and Zhou Daoqi at the same time. Zhou Changyi said coldly, Don't be impulsive. The monster will leave its scent on the natural treasures. If you rashly bring them back to Deep Forest Mountain, it is likely to lure the Ironback barbarian bear back to Deep Forest Mountain. This. Zhou Shirong's face tightened, knowing that he thought too simply, and asked, Do we have to kill the Ironback barbarian bear? But with our strength, it is still quite difficult to besiege it. Zhou Daoqing smiled and took the initiative to say, Leave it to me. Make some preparations in advance, and it may be easier than you think. Chapter 95 Taming the Ironback Bear. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At Zhou Daoqing's gaze, the Ironback bear whined faintly. The originally sharp eyes were no longer arrogant, only humiliation and fear, and even vaguely, a hint of obedience and begging for mercy. Hiss this. Seeing this scene, Zhou Daobai also looked at his sixth brother with a complicated expression, and couldn't help but sighed. I stabbed it so many times, causing it to be seriously injured, but it only provoked its fighting spirit and anger. I didn't expect that the sixth brother was so amazing that he was beaten to submission. Zhou Daoqing was also stunned in place, with the corners of his mouth twitching uncontrollably. The result in front of him was not what he wanted. Among the crowd, the most melancholy person was the head of the family Zhou Changyi, his eyes full of self-blame. It's all my fault. I was too hasty to marry Daoqing a concubine so early. Ahem. Zhou Shirong coughed lightly, interrupting the calmness of the scene, and asked, Head, what should we do next? The savagery and wildness of this iron-backed bear seemed to have been beaten away by Daoqing. Zhou Changyi narrowed his eyes slightly, and finally said with some worry, We in the Zhou family don't have the means to control beasts. I'm afraid this kind of submission won't last long. Zhou Daobai also nodded. The head of the family's worries were not unreasonable. Without strong control methods, how can we ensure that the iron-backed bear can always remain submissive? Is it possible to whip it every day? Zhou Daoqing couldn't help but shudder and directly gave up this idea, but after thinking about it, an idea suddenly appeared in his mind. Although he didn't have the means to control beasts, he did have a spiritual secret method. I just don't know if the spiritual secret method can be used on monsters. However, it is still worth a try to subdue a first-class monster with extremely strong strength. Zhou Daoqing walked to the side of the iron-backed barbarian bear, stared at it with cold eyes, and said in a cold voice, You are not allowed to resist what I am going to do to you next. Although the iron-backed barbarian bear could not understand human language, it could sense the threat and immediately shrank back in fear. Then, Zhou Daoqing turned his head to look at the head of the family, indicating that he would be his guardian. The head of the family was a little confused, but he did not ask more questions. Instead, he held the soul-calming bell and calmly appeared next to Zhou Daoqing. Zhou Daoqing sat cross-legged on the ground and began to operate the spiritual secret method, separating a subtle spiritual energy again. His strength broke through the 8th level of qi refining, his mental power was slightly improved, and the number that could be controlled was also increased. However, according to his estimation, after controlling this iron-backed barbarian bear, it is likely to reach saturation again. The spiritual secret method is too advanced for qi refining cultivators after all, and it is difficult to control it perfectly. As the secret method ended, Zhou Daoqing controlled his weak spirit and slowly entered the mind of the iron-backed barbarian bear. Under the threat of Zhou Daoqing's gaze, the iron-backed barbarian bear did not dare to resist and accepted the control of the secret method of spirit. As the ceremony ended, Zhou Daoqing also let out a long breath, and a smile appeared on his face. The monster whose strength has reached the peak of the 9th level of qi refining, and whose actual combat power is even stronger than that of the same cultivator, can be imagined to have improved its strength. On the side, Zhou Daobai and others also showed surprised expressions. Zhou Daoqing's methods are richer than they imagined. Sixth brother, do you know the method of controlling beasts? I think so, but I am not proficient in it, and I don't understand it deeply. Zhou Daoqing just explained it casually, without explaining this method too much. They did not ask questions, but looked at this iron-backed barbarian with surprise, and the head of the family, Zhou Changyi, was even more happy. They knew in their hearts that with this iron-backed barbarian bear, the strength of our Zhou family has been greatly improved, and the losses during this period have been compensated. The most urgent task was to cure the iron-backed bear first to prevent him from dying. Directly due to his severe injuries, the head of the family, Zhou Changyi, was not stingy. He took out a large amount of healing pills and stuffed them into the mouth of the ironback bear, and used spiritual energy to help it digest. Visible to the naked eye, the dense bullet holes, sword wounds, burns, explosion wounds, on his body were gradually recovering. The rich spiritual energy wrapped around his internal organs and stopped the continuous flow of blood. The ironback bear's spirit was also much better, and his breathing finally calmed down, but he was still lying on the ground unable to move. At this time, Zhou Daoqi was just responsible for collecting silver silk spiritual wood. This time, the harvest was far beyond everyone's imagination. A guardian spirit beast at the peak of the 9th level of qi refining, plus a 2nd level spiritual wood, allowed the Zhou family, which had suffered heavy losses, to recover again. After the ironback bear recovered some of his injuries, the group returned to Shunlin Mountain. Not long after, a piece of information spread throughout the family. The head of the family led people out to look for natural treasures. They unexpectedly encountered an iron-backed wild bear. After defeating it, Zhou Daoqing used the beast taming method to control it and successfully subdued it as the family's spiritual beast. The strength of the iron-backed wild bear was not clearly revealed, but even so, it also caused a lot of discussion in the whole family. That's an iron-backed wild bear. At least it has the strength of the late stage of qi refining. Monsters are different from cultivators. The actual combat power should be stronger. The head of the family is unwilling to reveal the strength of the wild bear. It should be that the strength is not too strong, otherwise it would not be tamed so smoothly. Hee, fourth brother, you guessed wrong. It is said that the head of the family personally led the team out this time to find a 2nd level natural treasure. He even brought the soul-suppressing bell. Do you think the monster he encountered will be weak? Hiss. 2nd level natural treasure. Soul-suppressing bell. But I think the most amazing thing is that kid Daoqing, who actually knows how to control beasts. He really didn't lose face for Elder Xuanhuan. Elder Xuanhuan. Alas, thinking back to the family back then. The atmosphere always becomes dull inadvertently, and the clan members still can't get out of the pain in a short time, but the development of the family must continue, and a strong family always rises from weakness. Zhou Daoqing came to the temporary meeting room and said, Master, you are looking for me. Zhou Changyi put down the book in his hand and smiled. Yes, how is the ironback barbarian bear? Is it still safe? It is still recuperating. The injury is too serious. It will take a few months to recover. However, its character is still gentle and it is not a particularly irritable monster. Zhou Changyi also nodded. If it really has no wisdom and a monster with an extremely violent character, it is impossible to surrender voluntarily. Relatively speaking, wild beasts do not have the intrigues of humans, and they will not beat around the bush. Since they choose to surrender, they are really willing to surrender. That's good. When the ironback barbarian bear recovers, take him to Bailin Lake. We need to leave there unattended. Your elder brother won't go there. You and Zhao Yunji will be in charge of the Bailin Lake station from now on. Zhou Daoqing was stunned, raised his head in surprise, and met the meaningful gaze of the patriarch. After a little thought, Zhou Daoqing understood, smiled, and said, Thank you, Grandpa, for your help. Chapter 96, Guarding Bailin Lake. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When I returned to the family this time, too many things happened, and I had no choice but to reveal too many of my own secrets, including formations, spiritual secrets, and even exercises. It's just that Zhou Changyi knows better and doesn't get to the bottom of things easily. However, he also knows very well that there may be some deeper secrets hidden in his grandson. Instead of guessing and investigating, it is better to let the children go out and have some adventures, which may bring some different surprises. This is also in line with Zhou Daoqing's wish. He naturally hopes to have full control over Bailin Lake. Now with this arrangement, he can also develop the valley and completely develop it into the hidden force behind the Zhou family. In a few days, I will return to Bailin Lake with the iron-backed barbarian bear. If the family needs it, they can contact me at Bailin Lake. Zhou Daoqing said honestly. Zhou Chang's face changed when he heard this, and he snorted coldly and said, "What, you want to cause a split? Should I contact you if I have anything? Come back to me every year, otherwise don't blame me for being ruthless." Zhou Daoqing's eyes twitched and he said helplessly, okay, I come back every year. By the way, you can take a few more children with you. If you are willing, you can teach them a thing or two about the formation. This can be regarded as for the inheritance of the family. Zhou Daoqing nodded silently, and a different emotion arose in his heart. Once upon a time, the head of the family always acted like an elder and spoke in a commanding tone, but now, he treats himself as an adult and talks in a consultative tone. Zhou Daoqing knew that this was the respect the family head had for the talents of the descendants of the family, and it was also a legacy passed down from generation to generation. From a blood perspective, they are grandfathers and grandsons. From a family perspective, it is a trust between two generations of family heirs. Okay, if they have the talent for formations, I will teach them carefully. I hope Grandpa can rest assured. I don't have to worry about you doing anything. Then grandson, please take your leave first. After the conversation ended, Zhou Daoqing was about to leave the conference room when he suddenly heard a call from behind him. Tao Cheng. Grandpa, what else do you have to say? Zhou Daoqing asked with some confusion. Zhou Changyi looked complicated and asked with a little hesitation, if the family gives the foundation establishment pill to your eldest brother, will you blame the family? Zhou Daoqing paused, then a smile appeared on his face, and he said in a clear voice, Grandpa, you are worrying too much. Whether it is me or my brother, the foundation establishment pill has never been an obstacle on our path to immortality. After saying that, he turned around and left calmly. The sunlight outside the cave spilled in, lengthening his figure. Zhou Changyi was stunned for several minutes. After a long time, an inexplicable look flashed in his eyes, and he murmured, perhaps there will be some great people in Daozi's generation. Once again, he stayed in the deep forest mountain for a few days. On the one hand, he was waiting for the iron-backed bear to recover, and on the other hand, he was selecting children who were good at formations. Most of the Dao generation were young. After screening, Zhou Daoqing selected 4 children. They are the 16th brother Daoyuan and the 18th brother Daoxiu. They have one thing in common, that is, they did not live in the Zhou family since childhood, but were born from mortals of the Zhou family. Because of his childhood experiences, he has a strong and hardworking character. Although he is young, he has a mature mind and is extremely serious in his cultivation. Their talents are not very good, they all have 4 spiritual roots. Since they have no direct bloodline elders, their cultivation resources are relatively scarce. Zhou Daoqing plans to take them with him to teach them. The other 2 children were the remaining siblings from the small qi refining family that once occupied Deep Forest Mountain, Lin Changxi and Lin Changshu. The 2 of them were not of the Zhou family, and the other children were not close to them. Moreover, the family had been destroyed, and the 2 siblings were also very withdrawn. Zhou Daoqing observed for a period of time that the sister and brother only stayed in their own houses and never came into contact with other people. Except for the 4th aunt Zhou Xuanhuan, the 2nd sister Zhou Daoyue, and a few other people such as himself, anyone approaching them would be intimidated. Sensitive, considering that this situation would not be conducive to the growth of the 2 of them, Zhou Daoqing decided to take them to Bailin Lake, and it just so happened that the little boy Lin Changshu had an introverted personality and was very interested in battle tactics. He was a good boy. In addition to these 4 children, the eldest brother Zhou Daobai will also go together this time. It is said that there are some important things left in Bailin Lake that need to be retrieved. 6 people and 1 bear set out on the road, escorted by the iron-backed bear. They were very safe along the way, and they didn't even see the shadow of the monster. In the nearby forest, the iron-backed bear with the 9th level of chi refining strength is already the top existence, and it is rare to encounter monsters stronger than it. Returned safely to White Scale Lake, Zhou Daoqing did not return directly to his island, but at the request of his eldest brother Zhou Daobai, he first went to his island. Zhou Daoqing has been here several times, but only on the periphery of the island and does not know what is going on in the depths of the island, but this time, when he went deep into the island, he was immediately stunned by the scene in front of him. An entire 12 acres of first-grade spiritual energy were neatly planted with spiritual plants, and dense spiritual energy condensed in the air. What is even more shocking is that 6 spirit-gathering arrays cover the spiritual field, continuously absorbing spiritual energy and maintaining the concentration of spiritual energy in Lintian. For a moment, Zhou Daoqing couldn't tell who the formation master was. Is his eldest brother too rich? Noticing Zhou Daoqing's gaze, Zhou Daobai smiled lightly and said with a hint of regret, "If I had known that you, 6th brother, were an array master, why would I have bothered to acquire the spirit-gathering array? I wasted a lot of spirit stones." Zhou Daoqing couldn't help but sigh. "Brother, what on earth did you plant? They are all first-grade high-quality spiritual fields, and they also need a spirit-gathering array. The things should not be simple, right?" Zhou Daobai nodded, bent down to check, and said, "It is indeed not simple. This is the most important material of the Ningling pill, Ningyu root." Ningling pill. Zhou Daoqing pondered carefully, and finally widened his eyes. Is it the Ningling pill known as the small foundation building pill? Not bad. Brother, you also know how to make pills. You hide it very well. Zhou Daobai couldn't help but roll his eyes, and said unhappily, "I just made a crude pill. I just planted Ningyu root and then sold it to the Zhou family of Danyue Mountain." Zhou Daoqing couldn't help smacking his lips and asked, "Then you should earn a lot, right? It is said that one of this thing can buy thousands of spirit stones." "I didn't ask for spirit stones. I asked the Zhou family to give me 2 of the finished pills they had refined." Zhou Daoqing glanced at his elder brother. He didn't expect that he had such a brain. It was really impressive. "So, big brother, are you here to bring the Ningyu root back to Shenlin Mountain?" "No, let's plant it here. I have given the formula of the growth liquid to your second sister. She will come to take care of it in a while. You only need to be responsible for your second sister's safety at that time." Zhou Daoqing nodded in agreement. Since his big brother had already arranged it, he didn't need to worry too much. Chapter 97, Current Situation in the Valley. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The value of strategic resources such as Ningling pills is also worth Zhou Daoqing's careful attention. If he is lucky, he may be able to add a foundation-building strongman to the family. However, in most cases, Ningling pills will be saved and will not be used directly by family members, because the failure rate of breakthrough is still too high, 10 probability. This means that 10 family elders at the peak of the 9th level of chi refining will consume 10 Ningling pills before a foundation-building strongman may appear. If it were not a critical moment for the survival of the family, it would be impossible to waste the family's strongmen in this way. The only possibility is that when a family member is 69 years old, he happens to reach the peak of the 9th level of chi refining and is determined to try to break through, and the family does not have a second foundation building pill. In this case, Ningling pills may be provided. When it comes to Ningling pill, Zhou Daoqing's eyes suddenly light up, and he turned around and asked, "Brother, are you cooperating with the Zhou family of Danyue Mountain? How is your relationship with the Zhou family?" Zhou Daobai thought for a while and said, "Not bad. The head of the Zhou family, Senior Zhou Changqin, is a very kind person. He lent me money to develop the spiritual field in the early stage. He is a good person." Zhou Daoqing nodded slightly, thinking in his mind, and vaguely had some plans. "Brother, I may need to discuss a cooperation with the Zhou family in the future. It is related to the future of the family. Can you introduce it to me at that time?" "It is related to the future of the family." Although Zhou Daobai was doubtful, he still firmly believed in Zhou Daoqing and answered directly, "No problem, you contact me at that time, and I will go to the Zhou family with you. The two parties agreed that Zhou Daobai would take his own items on the island and return directly to Shenlin Mountain. Now that the Zhou family is at its weakest in 100 years, Zhou Daobai, as a 9th-level elder of qi refining, must return to the family in time to protect the family, and Zhou Daoqing also has his own things to do in the next period of time. After breaking through to the 8th level of qi refining, his strength has greatly improved. He needs to put his energy back into learning the formation, especially the first-level superior formation. Zhou Daoqing arranged the 4 children directly on the island of his eldest brother Zhou Daobai. However, their cultivation has not yet reached the qi refining stage, so they cannot learn the formation and need to practice first. Zhou Daoqing taught the Yuanmai Ju to the 4 people. This is the practice that most people in the Zhou family practice, and it is also the practice that Zhou Daoqing first practiced. Any cultivator with spiritual roots can practice, and the breath is gentle and it is not easy to go crazy, which can ensure a smooth path in the early stage of cultivation. The 4 people's talents and comprehension are not high. Zhou Daoqing explained it many times before he could barely record the method of cultivation, but the path of cultivation depends not only on talent, but also on hard work day and night. If you can calm down, even a cultivator with 4 spiritual roots has a chance to peek into the foundation building realm. After teaching the 4 people, Zhou Daoqing also returned to his island. After several months, the moon grass and crystal jade rice planted on the island are still growing vigorously, and there are obvious signs of weeding, which shows that they have been taken care of seriously. When we rode to the valley, we could feel the rich spiritual energy as soon as we entered. The flowers, plants and trees around the valley were also stained with a trace of spiritual energy, becoming more lively and full of vitality. If we look from the top of the mountain, we can find that the ordinary mountaintop is now surrounded by mist, like a fairyland. Zhou Daoqing found Meng Yueshan and learned about the recent situation. After confirming that everything was safe, he felt relieved. These days, the valley has also been developing in an orderly manner. Meng Yueshan and Lin Yuan formed a small hunting team to clean up the monsters around them and obtain monster materials and natural treasures. However, a bad situation has appeared recently. The soul-devouring ant colony discovered before has expanded its living area during this period of time, and it is very likely that it has broken through to the 2nd level. Although it has not spread to the valley, the mine of the spirit snake sect, dozens of miles away, has been attacked recently, and the losses are not small. This also made Zhou Daoqing alert. A 2nd-level soul-devouring ant colony is very dangerous. Qin Lai has been learning to make pills recently. His talent for alchemy is not good, but his character is hardworking enough. Now he has barely reached the level of a 1st-level low-grade alchemist. He can refine 2 1st-level low-grade pills, Yangqi pill and blood coagulation pill. However, when Zhou Daoqing learned about the alchemy materials consumed by Qin Lai, he couldn't help but take a breath, and his heart was twitching with heartache, but in the end, he could only sigh helplessly. This is the characteristic of the art of cultivating immortals. If it is not a person with extremely high talent and comprehension, then he can only rely on countless failures to accumulate experience, which will consume a lot of materials. This is why many families, even if they have inheritance, cannot cultivate an alchemist, weapon refiner, talisman master, or array master. Because if there is no teacher's guidance and no solid funds, it is no different from burning spirit stones. Zhao Yunji also stayed in the valley during this period. She had some knowledge of planting and breeding, so she had been adjusting the ecological environment of the entire valley. In every corner of the valley, some 1st-level middle and lower spiritual trees, spiritual flowers, and spiritual herbs have been planted, which could not only stabilize the spiritual energy in the valley, but also warm up the land and continuously optimize the overall environment, including the spiritual spring pool, which was originally in charge of Lin Yuan. It seemed to be filled up, but in fact there was no logic. Now, after Zhao Yunji's arrangement, the ecological structure of the spiritual spring pool has been optimized, with a large number of aquatic plants growing, as well as fish, shrimp, snails, loaches and other creatures, forming a small ecosystem. The 6 green-bearded shrimps have also grown a lot, but it will take some time to really start to generate income. Afterwards, Zhou Daoqing personally walked around the valley and found a situation that no one noticed. As the spiritual energy in the valley became more and more dense, some of the spiritual energy would drift out of the valley. This is actually a very normal situation, but it is very dangerous for the valley today. because the soul-swallowing ant colony is extremely sensitive to spiritual energy. If it detects any abnormality here, it is likely to come closer and cause great losses. It seems that a larger formation must be arranged to cover the entire valley. Zhou Daoqing made a decision in his heart, but the formation that can cover the entire valley must be of high quality, and it is likely that he needs to reach the level of a first-class upper-grade formation master. Zhou Daoqing sighed secretly. It seems that the most important thing is to improve strength and formation level, otherwise many things will be difficult. Thinking of this, he chose to return to the underground cave as soon as possible, first practiced, calmed his mind and breath, and then began to study the formation. 100 Vine Formation, and Green Spirit Sword Formation, are the two formations with the highest priority, and there is no shortage of materials, even overflowing. As long as I become a first-class top-grade formation master, I will definitely be able to quickly improve the strength of the family and the valley. Zhou Daoqing was also full of excitement and began to study the formation. However, while Zhou Daoqing began to refine the first-class top-grade formation, Xuanhuan Mountain had a more important thing that was in full swing. Chapter 98, Refining the Giant Ridge Bow. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Deep Forest Mountain, in a hidden cave, several Zhou family refiners gathered here. The flames in the casting furnace were burning, reflecting the surrounding stone walls red. There were a total of 5 people present, one of whom was Zhou Yonghan, the head of the Zhou family, and the other 4 were the only first-level top-grade refiners in the Zhou family. Start refining the giant ridge bow. You can assist me and listen to my arrangements. The clan leader Zhou Yonghan opened his mouth and ordered. Everyone nodded nervously, breathing heavily. They participated in the refining of the giant ridge bow, which was really a helpless move. Clan leader Zhou Yonghan was seriously injured, and his life was about to end. His spiritual energy was almost exhausted. He could no longer complete the refining of the second-level magic weapon alone, so he could only call on everyone to help. Just based on their level, it is still a big challenge to participate in the refining of the second-level low-grade magic weapon. But now the arrow is on the string and it has to be shot. Zhou Yonghan looked calmly opened the furnace forging, first threw the second-level metal into the casting furnace, and began to forge small metal parts. In order to refine the giant ridge bow, the family treasury was almost empty to gather all the required materials, and there was only enough for 1 copy, so it could only succeed, not fail. Outside the refining room, the Zhou family members were also anxiously waiting. The head of the family Zhou Changyi, the elders Zhou Changyan, Zhou Changguang, Zhou Shurong, Zhou Daobai and others were stationed around the refining room to ensure the safety of the environment, and such guarding took 6 days and 6 nights. Zhou Daobai sat cross-legged on the ground, frowning, showing a bit of weakness, and couldn't help but say, "Grandpa, 6 days have passed." Zhou Changyi closed his eyes and rested, and said lightly, "Don't worry, the second-level magic weapon is not so easy to forge. Even in the heyday of the clan leader, it often takes a long time, let alone now. Can the old man's body still bear it? There is no such thing as whether it can bear it or not, it's just holding on." Zhou Changyi slowly opened his eyes, with complicated emotions, staring at the closed door of the refining room. When the time came to the 15th day, all the tribesmen waiting outside the door were already haggard and depressed, and their hopes were gradually shattered. Such a long refining process consumes a lot of energy. How much can the success rate be increased? Alas, the refining of the giant ridge bow this time doesn't seem to be going smoothly. It's so hard to get all the materials together. Is it going to end in failure again? How can people be willing to accept this? The tribe leader is not the same as he used to be. However, when everyone was in a low mood, the stone door that had been closed for a long time finally made a sound again. Ka-dang! Clang! The stone door slowly opened, and everyone's eyes gathered, their pupils flickered. They were eager to know the result, but afraid to hear the answer, and all the complex emotions were integrated into their eyes. The first to walk out was Zhou Daoqi. Before his face appeared, his round belly was reflected in everyone's eyes, which made everyone feel distressed. It was not until Zhou Daoqi walked out with a tired face but a big mouth that the huge stone in everyone's heart fell. Live up to everyone's expectations. With the help of Zhou Daoqi, third uncle finally succeeded in refining the giant ridge bow. Hey, 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 don't pull me. Get lost, Daoqi, you kid, have some shame, come out quickly, don't block third uncle's way. Zhou Daoqi cried and was pulled out of the stone gate by Zhou Changyan, and thrown aside. Ahem, Changyan, Daoqi is not talking nonsense. If it weren't for his help, third uncle wouldn't be able to complete the refining of the giant ridge bow. The clan leader Zhou Yonghan walked out slowly, and what he said made everyone stunned in place, looking at Zhou Daoqi in disbelief. It wasn't until other refiners came out and explained that everyone understood. In fact, the overall refining of the giant ridge bow was still completed by the clan leader Zhou Yonghan, and other refiners were only responsible for simple tasks such as controlling the temperature and adding materials. It's just that the clan leader is no longer the same as he used to be. After completing the main body of the bow, he was no longer able to continue. Therefore, the forging of arrows in the later period was taken over by Zhou Daoqi. At the same time, with the guidance of the clan leader and the assistance of the elders, it took a full 7 days to complete. This is why it took so long to forge this time. But not only did the crowd not complain, but their faces were full of surprise, and their eyes looking at Zhou Daoqi almost swallowed him. Refining the arrows of the second-level giant ridge bow represents extraordinary significance. On the one hand, the arrows of the giant ridge bow are disposable magic weapons. Once used up, without the help of the clan leader to refine, the giant ridge bow is just an empty frame. But if Zhou Daoqi can also refine it, then even if the clan leader is not there in the future, the Zhou family can still use the giant ridge bow. On the other hand, it is also more important. Even if it is just the arrow of the giant ridge bow, it is also a second-level low-grade magic weapon. Zhou Daoqi can refine it, which is enough to show that his refining level has surpassed all the elders and touched the threshold of the second-level refiner. A teenager who has already stepped into the field of second-level refiners with 1 foot in the 7th level of qi refining. At this moment, everyone seemed to see a rising star. With such talent, as long as he successfully breaks through the foundation building stage, he will almost certainly reach the level of a second-level weapon refiner. There is even a great possibility that at the 9th level of qi refining, he can barely refine a second-level magic weapon. This is undoubtedly great news for the impoverished Zhou family, but another good news also surprised everyone. That is the result of more than 10 days of hard work, the giant ridge bow. The body of the bow is huge, and the bow wings are stretched out to a full 2 feet. The entire body is filled with blue-gray light. Exquisite lines cover the entire bow body. The vast aura can be felt even from dozens of meters away. The tight bow string was full of power, and even the elders at the 9th level of qi refining could not pull it apart by themselves. The old face of the owner Zhou Changyi trembled slightly, his fingers gently touched the work of art, his eyes were slightly red. Third uncle, what special effects does this magical weapon have? Fourth elder Zhou Changyan asked. Generally speaking, second-level magic weapons will have some special effects, such as the spiritual attack of the soul-suppressing bell, the powerful attack of Qinzhaoyan spear, the blue moon bracelet that can form a light blue protective cover, etc. Zhou Yonghan pressed his hands on the giant ridge bow and said, "The giant ridge bow is considered a very powerful magic weapon even among the second-order low-grade magic weapons. It just requires a lot of power to control and is relatively cumbersome to use. It lacks flexibility. But the advantages are also obvious, that is, extremely high stability and terrifying explosive power. If used as a strategic backup, it can turn defeat into victory at a critical moment." That everyone gasped after hearing this, and even the clan leaders in the foundation building stage called its explosive power terrifying. So it shows that the strength of the giant ridge bow is indeed extremely terrifying. Chapter 99 Trying out the first-class superior formation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After all, just looking at the size, you can tell that it is not comparable to an ordinary second-level magic weapon. It is very likely that when this magic weapon was created, it was not used as an ordinary bow and arrow magic weapon, but a large magic weapon similar to the siege crossbow in the Mortal Kingdom. This also determines the terrifying power of the giant ridge bow. But the power of the giant ridge bow is more than that. Zhou Daoqi took out 3 arrows and handed them to the head of the family, Zhou Changyi, and said, Head. In the refining method of the giant ridge bow, there are also 3 arrows with different functions, which correspond to 3 different characteristics and uses. 3 arrows? Zhou Changyi raised his eyebrows slightly, and really felt 3 completely different auras from the arrows in his hand. The rose-red arrow, named Flame Arrow, is wrapped in explosive and hot power, mainly killing with power. The light blue arrow is the Wind Arrow, with a touch of agility and sharpness. When a breeze blows, it will surround the arrow and form a small airflow. The pale golden arrow is an armor-piercing arrow, full of hardness and sharpness. Just by looking at it, you feel that the sharpness of the arrowhead is about to pierce your eyes. They are mainly based on attack, speed, and armor-piercing, which also means 3 different functions, and the power is very good, which makes everyone present amazed. After the shock, the head of the family also began to arrange several elders to learn to control this second-level magic weapon. After all, if you have a second-level magic weapon but don't know how to use it, it will be a big joke. And then, a shocking scene appeared. The 4th elder Zhou Changyan and the 6th elder Zhou Xuanhuan input magic power at the same time, but it is still difficult to shake. Giant Ridge Bow. It was not until the 7th elder Zhou Shurong came forward to help that he struggled to pull the bowstring, but even with all his strength, he still couldn't pull it to the full bow state. There is no doubt that the power of the Giant Ridge Bow did not disappoint people at all, and it was even more powerful than expected, but the difficulty of using it was also extremely high. Each use may require the participation of multiple 9th-level Qi refining elders, which is very costly. But there is no doubt that with the Giant Ridge Bow, the Zhou family's safety in the deep forest mountain area is also guaranteed, enough to deal with most crises, and there is no need to worry about the threat of monsters below the 2nd level. The appearance of the Giant Ridge Bow is undoubtedly a shot of confidence for the Zhou family members. While bringing a sense of security, it also vents the depression in their hearts these days. Almost all the clan members showed a surprised smile, and some clan elders cried with joy. When everyone was rejoicing, they did not see Zhou Yonghan showing a relieved and pale smile in the corner. Due to his weak body, Zhou Yonghan did not celebrate with the clan members, but returned to the cave to rest in advance with the help of the head of the family Zhou Changyi. On the way, a low voice suddenly asked, "Changyi, is there any news about the foundation building pill?" "Uncle San, I have sent people to find out. Qingshan sect will not start refining the foundation building pill in the near future, but there will be an auction in Liyuan market, and the foundation building pill will appear in the finale of the auction." Zhou Yonghan's eyes condensed slightly, as if he had made up his mind, and asked, "How many spirit stones can the family mobilize?" "The accumulation in the past few years, plus the spirit stones obtained from the sale of assets, is almost more than 50,000. If some resources and magic tools are sold, it can barely raise 20,000 more." Zhou Yonghan frowned and thought, shook his head and said, "The foundation building pill at the auction will definitely not be taken for 50,000 low-grade spirit stones, and 70,000 is barely enough. You should raise spirit stones as soon as possible and try to buy a foundation building pill for the family before I die." Zhou Changyi gritted his teeth and nodded cruelly. 50,000 spirit stones are already the limit of the family. It was barely reached after selling the shops in Sifang Market and Liyuan Market, and 70,000 spirit stones would almost empty the Zhou family's assets, destroy their foundation, and even make it impossible to recover for a long time in the future. But for the inheritance of foundation building, the Zhou family had to bear this risk. During the period when Zhou Yonghan was resting, the Zhou family began to secretly go to the distant market to sell various resources of the clan and raise a large number of spirit stones. Bailin Lake, underground cave, Zhou Daoqing sat cross-legged, his bright eyes reflected the formation pattern, and sweat broke out on his forehead. The difficulty of Bailin sword formation was very high. Even though he had excellent comprehension, he still felt a little bit of effort, letting the sweat drip from his forehead. Zhou Daoqing stood still, remembering the complex formation pattern in front of him in his mind without any error. Now he is facing a threshold from a first-level middle-grade formation master to a first-level upper-grade formation master. Once crossed, the formation skills will have a qualitative leap and reach a new level. After a long exhale, Zhou Daoqing cast his eyes on the purple Qi green spirit bamboo. The first purple Qi green spirit bamboo, nurtured by the innate purple chi, has reached the second-level middle grade at a very fast speed. The quality is too high, and this is the first time to refine a first-level top-grade array plate. He is really not sure that he can succeed. Therefore, Zhou Daoqing finally chose a first-level top-grade purple chi green spirit bamboo. Although the quality is lower, it is more than enough to refine a first-level top-grade array plate. Cut it off with the bamboo root. The bamboo stem is as warm as jasper, surrounded by gentle green light, and there is a faint purple air wandering. Moreover, the originally plain bamboo stem is now engraved with a very light purple pattern under the influence of the innate purple chi, full of mysterious breath. In terms of quality alone, it is even higher than the ordinary first-level top-grade green spirit bamboo, and is definitely the top existence among the first-level materials. First, use simple techniques to refine the purple air green bamboo, followed by the coordination of various materials, the arrangement of array patterns, the arrangement of array plates. Zhou Daoqing did not dare to be careless, and tried his best in every step to prevent any possible mistakes, but even so, the final result was still not as expected. The deviation of the array pattern led to failure and destroyed most of the array materials, which made Zhou Daoqing beat his chest and stamp his feet. Fortunately, the most precious material purple air green bamboo was not directly destroyed because of its extremely high quality. In the second attempt, Zhou Daoqing was more careful. With the experience of the first time, he no longer followed the steps and rigidly applied the arrangement method, but added his own understanding and made subtle adjustments. But unfortunately, the second attempt still ended in failure. Even in the preparation stage, it failed, and even the purple air green bamboo was not used. Zhou Daoqing soon understood the reason. It was not that his array ability was insufficient, but that his refining level was too low. Although formations and refining are two completely different fields, they are intertwined. Formations require simple refining of formation components, and the production of formation plates also requires the use of refining knowledge. It is just that in the first-level low-grade and medium-grade formations, the refining technology used is relatively simple, and Zhou Daoqing can barely meet it. However, after reaching the first-level high-grade, the process of refining the first-level high-grade formation plate is more complicated, and Zhou Daoqing's technique is relatively rough, so it is very easy to have problems. Considering this aspect, Zhou Daoqing is also quite helpless. The continuous formation attempts have exhausted his physical strength. He can only rest and recover for a period of time. At the same time, after some thinking, Zhou Daoqing finally made up his mind that in order to make the subsequent formation road smoother, it is necessary to make up for the knowledge of refining. Although he did not follow the family predecessors to learn refining, Zhou Daoqing still has the most basic refining inheritance in his mind. For Zhou Daoqing, it is indeed troublesome to reach the first-level medium-grade or high-grade refiner, but the first-level low-grade may not be a big problem. It's troublesome, but I just hope that the first-grade top-quality formation won't disappoint us. Zhou Daoqing sighed. Chapter 100, Purple Chi and Green Spirit Sword Formation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After recovering his physical and mental strength, Zhou Daoqing temporarily focused on refining the weapon. Just before, when I raided the treasury of the small family in Deep Forest Mountain, I obtained a large amount of materials, some of which could be used to refine weapons. Zhou Daoqing was not stingy and began to study and experiment. Since he had lived in the Zhou family since he was a child, he had learned a lot of weapon refining knowledge, so his progress was not slow, and with his extremely strong understanding, the first-level low-level immortal cultivation skills are not very complicated, and are completely within the scope of what he can accept. It took almost 7 days for Zhou Daoqing to complete the entry from a layman and become a first-level low-grade weapon refiner. In the absence of a casting furnace, the crudest refining method was used to successfully refine the simplest long sword weapon. Although the level of a first-level weapon refiner is nothing among weapon refiners, it is enough for formations. He tried refining the formation disc again, and this time the situation went much smoother. Many problems that had not been discovered before were also discovered, and Zhou Daoqing adjusted them one by one. In the end, it took nearly half a month to successfully complete the refining of the Jade Spirit Sword formation. Although only one purple Chi Jade Spirit bamboo was used, there were 5 sharp purple Chi Jade Spirit swords floating in the formation, all of which were full of sharp auras. By manipulating the formation, Zhou Daoqing can control the movement of the spirit sword in the formation at will, and it is extremely flexible, like an arm. Even a high-level sword cultivator may not be as good at controlling spiritual sword instruments as Zhou Daoqing in the formation. With just a slight control of the jade spirit sword, it was like a cold light piercing the air. The clear sound of the sword echoed in the ears, and the terrifying aura was like a light on the back, making people shudder. From the perspective of the momentum of use, the Bailin sword formation is not as good as the splitting gold formation. From the exaggeration of the effect, it is not as good as the golden Concubine formation, but as long as you experience it yourself, you can clearly know that the power of the Bailin sword formation is definitely more terrifying than the other two formations. Originally, the quality of the Bailin sword formation reached the pinnacle of a first-level high-grade formation. It could be used both offensively and defensively, and was powerful in combat. It could even serve as a spiritual formation to protect the clan of a small family. What's more, the current set of Bailin sword formation is made of purple qi jingling bamboo, and its power is even higher. Moreover, Zhou Daoqing was also keenly aware that it seemed to be due to the effect of innate purple energy, which made this formation connect with his own mind, making it more convenient to control and able to exert stronger power. In terms of attack power alone, Jade Spirit Sword formation is comparable to the 9th level of Qi refining. It is not even weak among the 9th level of weapon refining. Coupled with my own defense power, it can truly reach the 90% level of Qi refining. Strength. Zhou Daoqing's eyes showed surprise, feeling the powerful power and full of surprise, but this time, he doesn't plan to end the retreat, but plans to refine a set of formations again. 100-ting formation. Yellow thorn vine is the main spiritual plant grown in the valley, and thorn vine array, and 100 vine array, are the main refining objects. Moreover, the golden gu vine formation, previously created using the formation method, has shown great power, which made Zhou Daoqing very satisfied. The 100-ting formation, which is of better quality, more powerful and integrates attack, defense and control, is even more exciting. However, Zhou Daoqing does not plan to refine the 100 vine formation, but intends to directly use the fusion formation to create a stronger formation. After all, the previous example is in front of us. The thorn vine formation itself is not very powerful, but after being integrated into the golden sword formation, the strength has more than doubled. Zhou Daoqing had already planned to merge the formation with 100-ting formation, and chose a weaker formation among the first-order high-grade formations, Jinj formation. It is of the same origin as the golden sword formation. It is modified on the basis of the first-order mid-grade formation to enhance its power, thus forming the first-order high-grade, golden knife formation. Because there are more than golden sword formation, he also had experience in refining the more difficult purple qi jade spirit sword formation, so Zhou Daoqing only studied it for 2 days and kept the pattern of the golden gu formation in his mind. 100-ting formation was difficult to learn, and it took 10 days, but this is just the beginning. The most difficult part is to integrate the formation. This is a very advanced knowledge that requires a lot of mental and physical energy, and there is also the possibility of failure. However, Zhou Daoqing is not worried about failure. After all, there is already an example of Jinj vine formation. This time it is just 2 sets of first-order mid-level formations that have been upgraded to first-order high-level formations. However, there is not much difference in the types and characteristics of the 2 formations, and the fusion process is also relatively similar. Based on his previous experience, Zhou Daoqing completely concentrated on the fusion of formation patterns. This process lasted for half a month. After completing a series of complex integration and optimization, a new formation appeared in front of us, Jinj baiting formation. In terms of the difficulty of the formation, it surpasses Jin Gu formation and 100-ting formation, and is not much different from the difficulty of Bailin sword formation. But Zhou Daoqing estimated that the power may be stronger than the ordinary Bailin sword formation. After all, it combines the strength of the 2 formations. Zhou Daoqing stretched himself with difficulty. His body was already very tired. Just the process of merging the array made him work intensively for nearly a month. This made him sigh that integrating the formation was indeed a big project, which added a big burden to his own formation path. However, once the formation fusion is completed, the benefits are permanent. In order to fully recover his physical strength, Zhou Daoqing entered the state of cultivation and operated the Wu Tu Kun Yugong to recover his physical strength. Since he had consumed the spiritual energy in his body many times, his strength was slightly improved after recovery. If it weren't for the Wu Tu Kun Yugong constantly warming his body, he might not be able to withstand such a high-intensity formation refining. After fully recovering, Zhou Daoqing also worked hard and directly refined the Golden Spear 100 Vine formation. Although it was only one word different from the Golden Spear Vine formation, the difficulty and power of refining were not at the same level. Even the consumed materials shocked Zhou Daoqing. The number of first-grade superior yellow thorn vines needed alone reached 20, and Zhou Daoqing searched the entire valley and only found 12 yellow thorn vines of quality that met the standard. There was really no way. Zhou Daoqing made up his mind, gritted his teeth, and sent Lin Yuan to Beifeng Market urgently, and spent a lot of money to buy 8 first-grade superior yellow thorn vines, which barely gathered the materials. As for materials, he had just plundered the family treasury of the small family and obtained 3 pieces of first-grade fine meteorite iron. After a delay of half a month, he officially started to refine the Golden Spear 100 Vine formation. He made a mistake once in the middle, but finally succeeded in refining it after 20 days. With 2 sets of spiritual light-flowing formations in his pocket, Zhou Daoqing's confidence increased significantly. If it was a strong man who had just broken through the foundation building period, he might not be able to fight.